Hi everyone, and I work in the Education Liaison team at Kingston University, and I'm here today to talk to you about personal statements. Most of the information in this presentation would be useful for students studying any subject going to university, but we've tailored this presentation so that it focuses on students who are studying an access course like yourselves and are hoping to progress to a healthcare course at university. I'd normally be delivering this presentation with you face to face so we can have a lot more interaction and I can get to know you better. But unfortunately, I'm talking to my laptop screen instead, which is much less fun for everyone involved. You might be thinking now that maybe this is a little bit overwhelming, right? You've only just got settled in your course, you feel like you're just finding your feet, and already you need to start thinking about next academic year and applying to university. Well, don't worry, everyone is kind of in the same boat studying your course. I've worked with a lot of learners and there is so much support out there to help you make sure that you are ready and prepared for university. Your college will support you, your tutors will, and attending presentations like this are a really good way to start. So your personal statement is part of the UCAS application process. UCAS stands for Universities and Colleges Admission Service, and this is basically just the site that you use to submit your application to university. The deadline for submitting your UCAS application is usually the 15th of January in the same year that you would like to start your course. That's the deadline for your application to be considered equally against all other applications that have been submitted, so it's really important that you make that deadline. However, your college might have an earlier internal deadline, and if they do, it's really important that you meet it because they've put it in place so that they have the time to do the things that they need to do in the background for your application. Okay, so imagine applications have opened and you've just sat down to complete your application. What does it look like? I'm going to do a very quick overview of this to give you some context for the personal statement. You start off by providing some personal information about yourself. You might need to provide a school buzzword. That's like a code word that links your application to your school or college so that they know that you have submitted it and they can do the stuff that they need to do in the background. After providing a bit more information, you can sign up to receive an email from Student Finance England to let you know when their application's open. You can then make your choices up to 5, and then you provide some information about your education history. That'll include things like dates and exam results, so do make sure you have them to hand. You can also provide information about any past employment or part-time work. You then complete your personal statement, and that's going to be the focus of this presentation today. You need to provide someone who's going to be your referee. That's usually a tutor or a teacher, and then you might need to pay to submit your application. So your personal statement, what on earth is it? Well, as I'm sure you've worked out, it's a written statement about yourself. You can definitely overthink what it needs to be about, so put very simply, all you need to focus on is 1, why you would like to study your chosen course, and 2, why you are suitable for your course academically. The person reading your statement will be the person who's reviewing your whole application, and they are often called admissions tutors. When asked what they're looking for in a personal statement, they said, keep on topic and show that you've really done your research and know why you want to do the course. And reflect on your experience, don't just describe it. Talk about the skills the profession needs, how you've noticed this, and how you've developed those skills yourself. So what does it actually look like? It's a piece of writing capped at 4,000 characters or 47 lines of text. That's about 600 words or maybe one A4 piece of paper. This might seem like a lot of writing at this stage, but I promise most students will find that they actually run out of space. You won't be able to use features like bold, italic, or underlined text. You can use paragraphs, but not bullet points. There are loads of guides online to help you with structuring your personal statement. UCAS have actually recently launched something called UCAS Hubs. It's a new personalised dashboard that they have created for 2021 entry to help you shortlist, look at different universities, different subjects. They'll list things like the entry requirements for you so that you can easily compare and contrast between different choices. But what will be useful for you during this presentation is that they have a personal statement builder as part of their tools. You might find that really useful, and it's all up and running now, so you could start having a look as soon as you like. There are lots of other tools and guides to help you, but here is an example one on this slide. You could consider it to get you started. Paragraph 1 focuses on what you want to study and why. Paragraph 2 is why are you suitable academically for the course. Paragraph 3, relevant work experience and activities. And finally, a paragraph with a strong ending that links back to the course, subject or career. Starting your personal statement can sometimes feel daunting, so we'd usually recommend starting somewhere else and then you can come back to that tricky first line. But when you're looking at it, try to avoid these most common opening lines that you can see here. One of these includes, from a young age I have. Firstly, if you told me you've always wanted to be a biomedical scientist ever since the moment you were born, I wouldn't believe you. And secondly, we want to know about you now. So what are you interested in now? And even if both of those are true, it's really, really overused, so it's not a good way to stand out. The second one I'm going to point out to you is number 7. Nursing is a very challenging career. Just keep in mind that whoever is reading your personal statement has most likely been a nurse or a midwife or a physiotherapist for a long time and are certainly aware of how demanding the profession is. So just be careful how you word things like that. Finally, number 11 is a quote. In these presentations, I'll usually ask you all sitting out there if anyone knows who said it. It is Nelson Mandela. And it is a great quote, but 148 people used it in 1 year in their personal statements. So generally avoid quotes if you can. You don't have the space and tutors want to hear what you have to say. When thinking about your opening line, find your hook and focus on what you want to study and why. Try to think of something that is directly relevant to you. Here's an example. Child nursing requires responsibility, understanding and commitment that can be shown from my experience of taking care of my young family. I was inspired to pursue this career after my child experienced an allergic reaction to peanuts. I immediately reacted to this by taking instruction to give him the accurate dosage of antihistamine medication. This episode encouraged me to research the field of child nursing. Here's another one. Being nicknamed after sheep isn't something to be proud of, but the fact that most people in my school know me as Dolly reveals my passion for genetic engineering. The first paragraph should focus on why you've chosen the course. You could talk about your intended career path or spotlight on certain aspects of your future course that you're excited about. For example, when volunteering for the Macmillan Cancer Support Service, I came across radiography as therapeutic radiographers play a vital role in the care of cancer patients. This introduction to the profession, combined with the experience of working one-on-one with the patients, confirmed that this is the career that is right for me. Paragraph 2 should be about why you are suitable academically for the course. This should be primarily focused on your education, but for mature students or those with a little more workplace experience, this could be included here as well. I completed the Access to Higher Education Diploma in Health and Social Care, which enabled me to develop my practice. I learned about the laws, legislations and different government policies involved in social care, about abuse and the different forms it can take, and how to help individuals take control of their lives, all of which will be relevant during this course. Paragraph 3 is for work experience or activities. For a health or social care course, this should primarily be work experience that you can relate directly to your course. You should give lots of examples, and you can use a process called ABC to make sure that you are linking them to your course. A stands for action. What did you do? This could be a project or a role you took on at work. B is a benefit. What skills or benefits did you gain from that action? C is course, so explain how those skills you gained will be useful for your course. You could also mention any current topics in the field that you find interesting. Hobbies and interests should only be mentioned if you have enough space and they can be directly related to your course. ABC is a tool you should use when providing examples in your statement. So take a look at this quote. This is what someone wrote in their personal statement before using this tool. I enjoy volunteering at my local community centre, helping to organise fun events and meeting new people. It's sometimes tiring but very rewarding. I also enjoy spending time with my children, taking them out on trips and reading to them. This, unfortunately, is no good. It doesn't tell us why this student will be great on their course or why they chose it. So this is after applying ABC. In my voluntary role at a local community centre, I help to run a range of events which has helped me to interact with people from all walks of life. I also enjoy taking my children out on a range of trips and enjoy reading with them. Combining my voluntary work with raising my children has helped me develop my organisational and time management skills, which I feel will benefit me when I plan my workload at university. This is great because you've got that action there, volunteering at a community centre, running events for the elderly and taking children out and reading with them. The benefit is interacting with people who may be vulnerable, developing communication skills, developing organisational and time management skills, and then C, they related to their course. So these skills will be useful when dealing with patients and also planning workload at university. And this could now be used in a personal statement. As I mentioned, work experience is even more important for healthcare-based courses. You should know the requirements of the courses that you are applying for. Universities understand that it can be very difficult or sometimes impossible to secure specific clinical experience in your chosen field. Observing and working alongside people in a caring or service role is just as valuable, especially with people who are vulnerable. A detailed reflection on volunteering in a care home is much more valuable than just saying, I shadowed a doctor for 3 weeks. The key is to reflect on what you learned. Don't just list what you saw. Make sure you explain why it is relevant to your course and write about it in a way that makes it relevant. During this current pandemic, it will be even more difficult for you to find traditional work experience, and universities are well aware of this. For many universities, work experience is desirable but not essential anyway. And you can also find alternative ways to gain experience. One example would be registering for Observe GP. That's a free platform that allows you to gain experience of working as a GP through case studies and activities. Another option is to visit Generation Medics. So they run a series of live Q&As with medical and healthcare professionals. In the final paragraph, try to have a strong ending that makes an impact and summarise why you should be offered a place. Sometimes it works well to link it back to something that you mentioned in the start of your personal statement. This midwifery student said, in the future, it's my ambition to be a midwife specialising in teenage pregnancy and would be very keen to get involved with research in this field. I would relish this opportunity to be part of a woman's life and her family journey into parenthood. Here are some additional points for healthcare personal statements. So it's hard to apply for more than one field. This is difficult for any subject, but especially for healthcare, as you are effectively choosing a specific career. It looks much better if you're certain about your decision. Explain why you've chosen your specific subject and not another. For example, adult versus child nursing. You don't necessarily need to cover what you haven't chosen, but make sure you discuss your specific field in detail and examine your reasons for your choice. Consider the NHS values and competencies. Use evidence and examples to explain how you embody these. How can you evidence that you are a compassionate person? Why do you think this is important for a midwife? Write about a time that you used excellent communication skills. How will you use these skills during your course? Make sure you write about your experiences in a clever way and relate them to your course, but make sure you are being honest. You may be asked about your personal statement during your interview. Check what universities are asking for. Like this admissions tutor says, we tell our applicants what we want on our webpage, but they don't actually look. Different medical schools and universities use the personal statement in different ways. Some use it as part of the screening process to decide whether or not you'll get an interview. They may score it against their selection criteria. Others don't use it to the interview stage, and one or two may just consult it prior to offers being made. So just keep that in mind. Some final tips and reminders for you before I finish. Don't be too humble. Students often tell me that they find it a bit awkward to talk about themselves in such a positive way, but it's something that you have to learn to do. Give specific evidence and examples, linking each one to your course. Do spelling and grammar checks. We all make mistakes, but make sure that you proofread and run it through a spell checker, because it just looks like you haven't taken enough time to write your statement and look over it. Don't repeat information already included on the UCAS form. So what this means is anyone who is reading your personal statement, they're going to have the whole application there. So that means you don't need to include every subject you've ever studied or every job you've ever had in your personal statement. You don't need to include everything in this. You just focus on the things that are directly relevant to your course, because otherwise you won't have enough space and they can see some of that information elsewhere on your application form. Get a second opinion, but you don't always have to take it, because the personal statement is just that. It's something quite personal. So listen to what everyone's saying, have a think, reflect on it, and then decide what is the best way forward for you. Finally, don't plagiarise. UCAS will run every personal statement they receive against all of them that have been submitted previously and those that are found online. If they find that there is any text or details that have been copied, they will flag it to the universities, and then it is up to the universities as to what they will do with that application. So don't panic about this. Look online for examples and inspiration and look at different structures, but don't copy chunks of text. Make sure that it is your own work. So that's it from me. Thank you for listening and best of luck with your applications. I'm now going to hand over to Jane Foreman, who is a senior lecturer in midwifery and admissions tutor. She's recorded a short video especially for you as Access learners to explain what she looks for in a personal statement. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jane. I'm the admissions tutor for midwifery at Kingston and St George's University. First up, I'd like to say that those of you that are watching this are thinking about midwifery, great choice. I have loved being a midwife. I've been a midwife for 20 years. Every single day has been wonderful, and I still work clinically. I was lucky enough to be at a birth last Sunday, and the opportunity to walk with a woman on a little bit of her journey and be with her is an amazing and very special thing, and I think you're going to really have a great career if that's what you choose. when I'm looking at a personal statement, I really try and look beyond the words to see what you're really like. I am aware that good schools spend a long time working on personal statements and not so good schools not so much. So we do look beyond that as well to see, what we want to see is that you understand what the job of a midwife is and that you have a passion for it. That's what we really want to see, is your passion come through. So anything you can say about why you wanted to become a midwife is really great to hear. And anything you can say to show you've done some research about what the job's actually like is also great. And I know that that's information that's on these slides as well. So for midwifery, you can say it's because your mum had a baby, which many people do. But if you can expand on that as well, that's really great. You can talk about important legislation which is changing the way midwifery services are delivered in this country, such as better births. You can... midwives are really, the focus should be on the women and not babies. Babies are important, but midwives, we love women. We like babies, but we love women, and that's where our focus is, on helping women and people that are having babies on their journey throughout this. And that's what we would really like to see. If you've managed to get work experience, well done. I think it's very difficult at the moment, but it's not vital. So long as you can demonstrate you know what this job is and show a commitment to it, and that you're going to be a great midwife because you want to empower women, you want to walk with them, you care about their birth experiences, then that's what we're looking for. And very best of luck, everyone, and I hope I see you at some of our interviews.